we approach the final days of our Daniel fast, let's go back to the book of Daniel, chapter 10, one more time. It says in verse 2 and 3, "At that time, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat or wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over." You know, when I shared that verse 3 weeks ago with my teenage daughters, they had more questions about the no lotions part than they did about the food restrictions. But I assured them that fasting is not about heaping on ourselves a form of New Testament legalism. Fasting is about starving the flesh and feeding the spirit. And when I say our flesh, I'm thinking about the way that the Bible uses that word to describe the sinful desires that live inside every person. But I also recognize that one of the best ways to gain control over our fleshly desires is to literally not give our body what it craves in the way of food. I love the quote from Thomas Kempis. He said, "Restrain from gluttony, and thou shalt the more easily restrain all the inclinations of the flesh." In other words, if you can learn this discipline of controlling your appetite for food, well, then you'll find it easier to conquer the other appetites that have been holding you back in your spiritual growth. When Satan tempted Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden in Genesis, and when he tempted Jesus in the wilderness in Matthew 4, do you think it was a coincidence that both of those temptations were with food? You see, when you take control over your most basic animal instinct to eat food, and instead you focus your energy on seeking God, I'm telling you, things will begin to happen. And for Daniel, his desire was a motivation to hear God and receive direction for his life. So, as the scripture said, for 21 days he fasted and he prayed. And then he saw a vision. A messenger from God came and spoke to him. Now, I want you to look at what happened next. Down in verse 12, it says, "The angel continued, 'Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them.'" That's incredible. Daniel discovers that on the 21st day, his prayers were actually heard on the first day when he set his mind and when he humbled his heart. But the message goes on from there, and it says in verse 13, "But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me because I was detained there with the king of Persia." This is, again, the angel of the Lord telling him something incredible. We see right here behind the veil of the natural and into the supernatural. Daniel discovers in this moment that there is actually a warfare that's going on in the heavenly realm. And God answers Daniel's prayer on the first day when he set his mind and when he humbled his heart. But for the next 21 days, the angel contended to bring the answer that he needed. Listen, friend, you never know just how powerful your prayers really are. Can you imagine if Daniel would have given up on the 20th day? Can I just say, you may be just one day away from your answer. You may be one prayer away from the promise that God has for you. Don't let your desires of the flesh control your life. Take control of those desires and be led by the Spirit of God, because you know what? God hears you when you pray. And it may feel like the 20th day, but your breakthrough is coming.